Hi, it's Carlos Saldivia again from Williamsport, Pennsylvania, shooting video for Life in a Day on July 24th, 2010. You know, I figured that one of the things after taking you down to the historic district and showing you all these great houses that we would maybe give you a little tour of what it looks like inside of one of these houses. I'm going to sit here and talk a little bit and then we'll give you a tour. Kevin McDonald said that there's 4 questions that he wanted to find, that he wanted us to talk about. And the third question that I wanted to answer is, what makes me laugh? And that was the easiest question of all. My wife Melinda is probably one of the smartest people I've ever met, if not the smartest. And we were earlier shooting on the Susquehanna to try to give you an idea of what it is, you know, right outside of Williamsport, or right next to Williamsport, that's where the river is. And we had some tornado warnings tonight and a storm warning. So she texts me and she says, you know, there's a tornado warning and a storm warning, and you know, when are you going to come home? So I texted her back and I said, look, you know, I think we're going to stay out here on the river and we're going to shoot the storm from the river. So she texted me back, you know, ain't that cool? And she texted me back and she said, you know, storms happen during the course of life in a day, but not to you. Come home right now. So she makes me laugh, and I love her for it. I love it. I love her for it, and she's made me laugh for 30 years. So this is a house that was built by E.A. Rowley, and the house was built in 1888 by and designed by the architect Eber Culver. Unique thing about Eber Culver is that he had no formal education, and self-taught architect. I'm sure he did an apprenticeship or two. I believe it was in New York that he did that, and he came to Williamsport in the 1870s, maybe possibly 1860s, and designed the preeminent houses here in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. We talked earlier about the $1 Million Home, Park Place, and obviously the Rowley House here in 1888. E.A. Rowley, the man who was the lumber baron who owned this house, owned a machining company, a wood machining company, and he used this house as a prototype of the products that he made, and this was his city residence here in Williamsport. Business in Williamsport has been transportation, lumber, and then it rolled into a financial center. And as we stand here talking on July 24th, 2010, the words that are on everyone's lips is the Marcellus Shale, which is a natural gas formation that is underneath Lycoming County and most of the western part of Pennsylvania. And we are conflicted. We are conflicted because, like coal, Pennsylvania is, you know, a great source for natural resources. But what's happening with the natural gas can't be coal all over again. Many people died, there were unfavorable working conditions, and the environment was, you know, put our lives and the way that we live here in jeopardy. The biggest issue with natural gas, there's 2 issues. They're paying a lot of money for leases for people who've never had money before and have land, and the numbers are astronomical, more than anyone can imagine. And that's the conflict. The money is, we can't turn it away type money. That's how much it is. But on the other side of that equation, what we're dealing with is that fracking, which is the procedure of how they use to get the natural gas out of the earth, is a dangerous situation, and it uses a lot of another natural resource, which is water. And as a good neighbor, you're not going to be able to leave the environment before pre-natural gas better than you found it. There's just no way to filter the water back to its natural state. And we're talking millions and millions of gallons per well, and there's tens of thousands of wells, and what do you do with the water? Not to mention that the water that we drink from the aquifers is also being polluted. So those are the two issues. The money's too big to not take, and the environment will be ruined. So that's the challenge that we're posed with, and in 100 years, of course, we'll know what happened. I wouldn't bet against the people of this area. Some of the people in this area that are known, Larry Lessig grew up in this area, and he is the creator of something called Creative Commons, which is a new model for copyrights. And there is a pitcher that retired for the New York Yankees. It's Mike Mussina, and he's actually from Montoursville, so which is one town away. And probably the most famous living Williamsporter is Jamie Humes. Jamie Humes was a speechwriter for 5 U.S. presidents, and in the Nixon administration, President Nixon asked him to write the inscription that's on the monument that's on the moon. And he was part of the group that made that happen. And I wanted to tell you a story that he told me. We went to visit him a couple of years ago. He lives in Colorado. He's a professor emeritus at Colorado State University. And he was writing a speech for President Reagan in 1988 for July 4th, and wanted to tell us about a story when he was 7 years old in 1944, where his father took him on a July 4th celebration to Newbury, which is the oldest part of Williamsport. And he got to meet, quote, the greatest handshake of his life. And the story, as it goes, is that he got to meet this woman who was the last living daughter of the Daughters of the Revolution. And her father was a drummer boy for George Washington. So I thought that was a great story that Jamie told us and shared with us. And it's just the classic Williamsport story, where you'd say, you know, it's just, sometimes it feels like nothing's happening, but bang, this woman lives in our midst, or lived in our midst. And Jamie wrote a speech about that great handshake for that 4th of July speech that President Reagan had in the Rose Garden. So without further ado, we will give you a tour a small tour of the Rowley House Museum. Thank you for watching.